Hello. I hope you're having a fabulous day. Once again, I was looking through my bookshelf and I actually read this book. I've been trying to read 10 pages a day, and I thought, this is The Answer Is You by Michael Bernard Beckwith. Somewhere I've got an autographed copy of it, but it's a little book, so I thought that would be a good one to start with. And I thought, as I was reading it, I underlined this portion of it. It is the word discipline, which most of us have a negative response to discipline. The word discipline shares the same root as disciple. Did you ever think about that? Um, Meaning one who is in the process of being ready to learn. Disciple, one who is in the process of being ready to learn. We are all disciples of happiness, right? You know, we're all disciples of joy, but are we disciples of making the difference in our world or taking the steps necessary to create the joy that we love or to create the happiness in our world? Whenever someone asks me what I do for a living, I always say I teach people how to be happy. And when Joy and I were traveling every weekend, that was the easiest response. Now, when people ask me what I do for a living, it's kind of shifting. It's like I help people discover the happiness that is within themselves. And in the process, I'm discovering my own happiness, and really the answers are truly within you. Um, that's what this book is. The answer is you. Um, the answers are truly within you, and it seems so simple most of the time. It may not be easy, but it does seem simple when you stop and think of the components of being happy. What are the components of being happy? Well, Michael Beckwith, who, I love, he's so eloquent. I would love to be as eloquent as Michael Beckwith. And I love the fact that he makes up words too, just like Adironnda does. But he says that one of the components to happiness is to first tap directly into the root of our inherent joy through our time tested practices such as meditation, affirmative prayer, contemplation, or spiritual study, life visioning of selfless service. I think that's what we've been saying for 20 years now. I mean, it's so true that when we tap into our own stillness, when we tap into selfless service, we get happier. When we tap into the visioning process, we actually get happier with our lives. Number two is move through life with an affirmative point of view. How often do you catch yourself pointing out to yourself, that can't happen? Joy and I have been tossing around a new project that we want to create. Um, I hope we get it created because I think it will be really fun and good. It's kind of an inspirational message every month on jump starting your month. Um, and we were trying to find a day that would work for me, work for her, work for our videographer, work for the church where we were going to produce it from, work for everybody. And we stopped and we said, what are we missing? Well, we're missing the fact that the perfect date and time may be directly in front of us, but we're thinking that it has to be on Monday, or it's got to be the last of the month, or got to be here, there, or yon. And so we just allowed it to unfold. which made us both feel very happy. The third way to happiness is, according to Michael Beckwith, is to realize, I love this one, to realize that we're all on the same planet, to deliver our gifts, talents, and skills without attachment to the outcome. How many times have you ever given somebody suggestions and they didn't follow them and they didn't follow them and they didn't follow them, and then they go to some workshop or go to a class or have a reading or whatever, and they came to you and said, "Oh, I've got this great idea and this is what I'm going to do," and it's the same thing that you've been telling them for a year or two. You see, you were just the seed planter, but until they were ready to hear it, they didn't get it. So when you work on that, it's being not attached. I'm sorry, English. It's not being attached to the outcome, not being attached to the way things are developing based on whatever it is that you're doing or attempting to do. Another item is to genuine happiness, it says, is to drop our false sense of self-importance, our egoic notions that the world revolves around me. Take a deep breath on that one. Because in the past, we have all, I've taught this, that you are the star of your own movie, and all the players are supporting players in your world. But that's not the same thing as feeling self-important. Some people, I know people that do the one-upmanship, that do well, you're telling a story and then they say, "Oh, well, I've got another story and I've got another story and I've got another story." And a lot of people really, really gravitate towards that kind of one-upmanship. So whenever you hear it or witness it, stop and ask yourself, do I do that? They say that anything that irritates you in somebody else is really something that you carry that trait within yourself, or are healing that trait within yourself. So, that self-importance, that's really making yourself feel self-importance, according to Adironnda, is a mask for really having low self-esteem. So it's not the key to happiness. So when you catch yourself in that habit, stop it. Another thing is, it says a person with happiness is one who has captured a vision for his or her life that is beyond living on the me and mine plan, and instead is living on the gratitude is the abracadabra of your life. Now, Michael Beckwith didn't use that phrase. Joy uses that phrase. Gratitude is the wellspring of happiness. That's the phrase that Michael Beckwith used. To clarify in the mind so that we may set opportunities and possibilities which abundantly surround us, and we do that through gratitude. So when you acknowledge your own feeling of happiness, when you acknowledge your own essence of are you happy or are you not happy, ask yourself, who's responsible for that happiness? And what is it proactively that you can do to be happy? And if it involves someone else in your world, that's not true happiness. because that true happiness comes from within. That true happiness comes from inside of you. And I've just given you 5 tips on how to acknowledge that. So, enjoy your happiness this week. Namaste, y'all. Namaste.